Now, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Vanishing, and thank you to all the new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. Apparently, only something like 7 or 8% of people who watch my content subscribe. So I'd really appreciate that, a share or like or whatever. But the latest video today, and we've spoken about a missing person, Kieran Dernan, who's been missing for a couple of years now, presumed dead. I've spoken about him on a previous video. Well, there's a new story today. It broke late last night in relation to a young boy who would be 7 now, but has been missing for 3 years, and Gardaí fear that that child is dead. They don't have anybody, they don't have a cause of death, but a lady, an African lady who we believe was at social welfare office recently, and she was claiming, I don't think she would have been claiming child benefit, because that sometimes goes through your account, into your account. I don't think you have to appear at the social welfare office for something like that. So I don't know what payment she was claiming for the child, but she was claiming something, and the person at the counter got a little bit suspicious. Then it went to TUSLA, which is the child agency that deal with that kind of thing, and it's now been given to Gardaí. So apparently that child was living at the Gallery Complex Apartments, and they are speaking to the who they believe is the mother of that child, who now says someone else is responsible for his death and his disappearance. But Gardaí have no proof to say that that's true, that has actually happened. So it's another missing child. I mean, with Kieran Dernan, we were all really shocked and surprised to see how someone can vanish like that, and nobody. The mother was over in the UK, doesn't seem concerned that the child is missing. It just seems wrong. And then in this case, the mother appears to have been claiming child benefit, or it seems to have been trying to claim child benefit for a child that doesn't seem to be alive. Gardaí, there's a heavy presence out in Donabate at the moment, because they're looking at land around those apartments, and they're searching it there maybe to find out if they can get any clues. But again, that woman who's been questioned in relation to the disappearance of that child, because we don't have a name. The child would possibly be 6 or 7 now, and was missing since they were 3.5. So they probably weren't in a primary school here in Dublin. More likely they were cared for at home. Well, we say cared for, I don't know, but they were looked after at home, or they were going to preschool childcare. So people in the area must know this person, who they are, and the last time they saw that child, I'm sure people would have known who that child was. Where is that child? Maybe, as we've seen before, excuses could be, oh no, he went back to Africa, or he went over to the UK or whatever. He's with his aunt. You hear these kind of stories. So again, more stuff that's made up. But it's a big story here at the moment. And how can this happen again? And is this a new trend? Just children just vanishing off the face of the earth, and parent or parents responsible for it. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. So in a statement, TUSLA, just in now, confirmed it made a referral to An Garda Síochána in relation to concerns about the safety and well-being of the child. And that's why it's been sent to Garda headquarters. An investigation has commenced, and they're now going to see if they can find out exactly what happened to that child. So I remember back in 2001, you would remember the story, because it was about 9 or 10 days after September the 11th, which is just around the corner again. You might remember the torso in the Thames River in London. And that was an African child. There was some sort of witchcraft involved. The torso was found, no head, no limbs. All those body parts were expertly removed from the body, and the child was just found in a pair of orange shorts. Detectives in London ended up calling that child Aidan, and he was found by a local businessman on his way to a meeting, who saw something in the river washed into the side of the bank, the river bank, and thought it was a mannequin, and then the investigation started. and they've never arrested anyone in relation to the death of that child. The child had been given some sort of medicine. From the autopsy, the child was given something like Calpol, but very strong, with a drowsy effect, and a powder that is usually used in witchcraft in Africa, in parts of Africa. And I think at that time the parents were from Nigeria, as far as I know. I think they were able to track down who the parents were, but they just couldn't bring charges to that the murder of that child. The throat had been slit as well when they were able to do the autopsy, but there was no head, arms, or legs. And 24 years later, they've never been able to arrest anyone for it. And here we are again in Dublin, and a young child, possibly from African descent, has gone missing. The parents apparently are Irish citizens. We do know that, but that's all we know at the moment. We do know that Kyron Dernan is a similar situation, but the cases aren't connected. He was 6 years old when he was last seen in mid-2022, and then just disappeared off the face of the earth. But there are laws that if you conceal a death or you hide a death, there are laws, and you can be prosecuted for that. But a mother should always know where their child is, or usually does know where their child is. And for someone not to know and not to report a child, whether they had an accident, or if they were in a car accident, or there was a murder or something like that, you have to report that. You can't just say nothing and then keep claiming social welfare for that child. That is suspicious in itself, and it's a criminal offence. So there's a lot more to come in this story. That's all we know at the moment. We don't have a name for the child. We only know it's the Gallery Apartments is where they were last living, or possibly the mother has been living there. And that's in Donabate in North County Dublin. I've been there many times, not at the Gallery Apartments, but I've passed it. I know where it is, and it's a lovely apartment complex. But this is the latest we have. A young boy, they fear, has been murdered. Not too sure whether it could have been accidental, because they don't have a body. Until they have a body, they'll be able to determine the cause of death. But he's disappeared, so usually it's missing, presumed. But we hope for that boy's sake that justice is served and they can get to the bottom of this. Norma Foley, who's the minister here in Ireland for children, has said that she's grave concerns, and it's very shocking details to hear. I think we all echo that as well. And look, as I always say on this, hopefully the detectives out in Swords, because it's Swords Garda Station, if you have any details, you report it there, you get onto them. I'm sure they have a line there that's open to that, and they'll keep it all very discreet if you just contact them. But if you know anything, let them know. This boy deserves justice, and let's hope that happens. Okay, thanks to everyone. We'll update you on that story again, but thanks to everyone who watched, and make sure you subscribe as well, and like and share, and we'll talk to you again. It's Beyond the Vanishing, and I'm Johnny.